What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be going over my accuracy drill in Black Ops 6. This is great for honing your aim and making good improvements to your aim over time, or even just for a great warm-up. And this is something I used to do all the time with Call of Duty. I used to share these drills every single year, but it's been a while since I've done this, and I have noticed after watching some of my gameplay back a little while ago that my aim just wasn't what it once was, and this is because I stopped focusing on this. So that's why I decided it was time to start doing my accuracy drill again, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. So let's dive right into this with the setup. This is obviously going to be in private matches, and we're going to be selecting free-for-all as our game mode. For our time limit, either just set it to the amount of time that you want to do this for, or I like just going with the maximum time limit at 45 minutes, and then I typically like setting the score limit to 100 to 200 kills, somewhere around there, depending on how much time I want to invest. Next, very importantly, we're setting the player health to either 150 or 200. Either one of those values is perfectly fine, but the reason that we're increasing this over the base health a little bit is this is going to help you a little bit more with your tracking as well as your recoil control. And the idea behind it is if you can practice aiming and tracking very well with a 7 to 8 shot kill, then when you go back to only needing 4 to 5 shots to kill, it's going to be that much easier to hit those 4 to 5 shots. Now, in saying that, I don't recommend going higher than 200 for this because that does limit your potential to get into a good flow state, and that's going to be a huge part of this video. I'm going to be talking about that a lot. And I also just find that you end up needing reloads too often, and the bots typically will just sort of stand still. So there are diminishing returns to that as well, where if they're just standing still and you just keep pumping round after round into them, it just starts to become a little bit pointless. Now, when it comes to health regeneration, I set this to fast. This is just so I can regenerate my health sooner, because you will get shot by the bots a little bit, and you want to make sure that you're able to get back in the fight as soon as possible. Then on the team tab, I turn radar always on, and I put this on fast sweep, just because the constant and directional sometimes bug out and they just don't work properly, but fast sweep always seems to work consistently for me. And that's all you have to do for those settings. When it comes to the maps, I personally like using Payback if I'm going for more like close quarters practice, like SMG aiming. Or I really like Scud if I'm practicing for assault rifles, because you tend to get more like mid to somewhat longer range engagements on Scud. And with how open it tends to be, it makes it a lot easier going from one target to the next without having to constantly navigate around the map to get into gunfights consistently. Now after that, for the bot setup, you want to add 9 to 11 bots. This is something you can kind of tune for yourself after doing the drill. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed too often, maybe drop the number of bots. If you find yourself constantly running around trying to find kills, then that means you probably want to increase the number of bots. And when it comes to the difficulty of these, I would go either recruit or regular, no higher than that. And the reason we don't want to go higher than that is the bots are simply there to be targets. This drill, like any drill you'll find in sports for instance, is really all about repetitions and keeping up flow and momentum. And therefore, we really want to limit the number of times that we're dying while doing this drill, because that will just break up our flow and force us to reset. And again, the bots are just there to be targets, nothing more. And that's it for the match setup. Next, when it comes to our class setup, it's pretty open, but there are a few keys that I would recommend here. First off, when it comes to the gun, I would recommend using an assault rifle or SMG. They're just the most versatile for doing a drill like this. I would also definitely include some form of an extended mag on your gun, so you're not constantly having to reload after every single fight. We want to get into that flow state and keep up that momentum. We definitely want scavenger on there as well, so you're not running out of ammo or you don't have to kill yourself in order to respawn with ammo. And then finally, you might want to throw some stims on there as well, just so if you do take damage, you can just stim up and get back in the fight, even though we already have faster health regen. And there we go. That's all we need to know for the setup. But more importantly, let's talk about what you should be doing during this drill and the mindset you should be having. This is much more important than the setup itself. Once you're in the game, you want to get yourself in a good position to be able to rotate between spawn points. And you can look at the gameplay of me doing this in the background to see some examples. Like on Scud, for instance, hanging around that C domination area, either up on the elevated platform or just down around that area, that's great because you can rotate between multiple spawn points, so you're just always going to have new targets to shoot at constantly. And I find the engagement distances are also quite nice for that. Whereas on Payback, I like staying around this general spawn area here and rotating between the spawns with that. And once you get yourself into a good position, you just want to go from kill to kill as efficiently as possible. And the main thing we're focusing on here, since this is an accuracy drill, is having perfect aim. Now, yes, realistically, you are going to be missing some shots here or there. You're not always going to have 100% flawless aim, but that should be our goal. That should be what we're aiming for. That's what we're trying to do. So with every kill you get, ideally, you want to not only land your first bullet, but you want to land every consecutive bullet after that until you get the kill. And with this, if you have to slow down a little bit to make that happen, that's totally fine. And that's also another reason that we like using regular or recruit bots. It allows you to control your own pacing, so if you need to slow down and focus on the aim, you can do that, whereas against hardened or veteran bots, you have no time to do that. Now, a bit of a side note here, and something you shouldn't neglect as well, is a huge part of having great aim is also having great centering, keeping your sights up and ready for targets roughly where you expect to run into that target. So once they are actually in your view, you don't have to make any huge adjustments to now get on target before you start shooting them. You should already be pretty much centered right on them, and this is something you should be doing in your regular gameplay as well, not just in this drill. And that's essentially the general gameplay flow that you want to be looking for while doing this. And once you're starting to get comfortable, your aim's feeling really good, you're hitting those perfect kills, now you want to build up the pace and go a little bit faster and a little bit faster, and this will ideally get you into that flow state where you're just chaining from kill to kill with perfect accuracy and ideally good reaction time as well. And the reason you want to get into that flow state is this is when things start happening on a subconscious level, and that's what we're trying to train with our aim here. We want our aim to be purely subconscious. We don't want to be thinking about what our thumbs are doing when we're in real games. We want that all to happen automatically, and this is how you make that happen over time. Now, of course, we have to remember the primary goal of this is accuracy. So as you start building up that pace, you might find your accuracy starts to suffer a little bit. You're rushing a little too much. And if that happens, if you notice your accuracy starting to fall apart as you're building up the pace, slow it back down a little bit and refocus on your aim before building the pace back up again. That's something you want to make sure you're catching yourself on, because if you're just running around not really thinking about your aim and just killing bots over and over again, it's not going to help you nearly as much as having focused practice. Now, one final note on that with the gameplay is during this process, try to be moving around as well. Don't just stand in one spot and always let the bots come to you. Try to be the aggressor, because especially in modern Call of Duty, especially in games like Black Ops 6, being the aggressor is very beneficial. And you want to make sure that good aim also applies to situations where you're challenging people and not just standing there waiting for them. Now, every time I do an accuracy drill, there's always one controversial variant that a lot of people like doing. And I wanted to bring this up because some people swear by it. It works really well for them. For me, I'm not a big fan of doing this, so I don't do it myself. But one thing you can do is when doing this drill, if you're a controller player, you can turn off aim assist while doing the drill, and then you just turn it back on when you're going back into real games. And the idea behind this is if you can get good at aiming without aim assist, then when you turn it back on, you should be aiming so much better because now you have the benefit of aim assist as well as good aim without aim assist. And if this works for you, that's awesome. Keep doing it. For a lot of people, this works really well. However, I'm a big proponent of practicing with the tools that you'll be playing with, and I think it's important to be feeling how your aim interacts with aim assist and learning how to maximize the potential of aim assist in practice so then it feels totally natural in game. To me, doing this is almost like practicing with a totally different sensitivity value than you would play with in a real game, and that just doesn't really sit well with me, so that's why I don't do it, but feel free to do it if it works for you. And that's it. Recently, I've been doing this most of the days of the week for about 10 to 20 minutes a day, and I've already noticed some huge improvements. My aim is definitely getting back to where it once was. I have been seeing an increase lately of cheating accusations on the channel, so that shows me I'm on the right track here. And if you guys do this aiming drill every time you hop in, instead of playing that first match as your warm-up match, do this instead. You should notice pretty significant improvement over time with your game, and it's absolutely worth spending that 10 to 15 minutes every time you hop on to play, instead of just hopping in and playing the game. And this works for every skill level out there. Beginner players or players with not very good aim should notice massive improvements after doing this drill for a few weeks. But even higher tier players can really benefit from this, and this is something professional players do quite often as well. They'll just hop in and shoot bots to get themselves warmed up and to really just lock their aim in. So nobody's really above doing this if you are looking to improve your aim. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this drill? And what's your take on turning aim assist off while doing this drill and then turning it back on when you play regular games versus just keeping it on all the time? If you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.